Hey guys, what's up? iPenguin Pat here, and today we're going to talk about the most fun, best part of Forge of Empires that the majority of players don't even know about. That's right, we're going to talk about GvG, Guild versus Guild. This is by far the most fun and exciting feature in the entire game, and again, the majority of players don't know about this. Now, there's two main reasons why that is. The first reason is because this is a feature that is only available on the browser version of this game. If you play as an app-only player, you will never see Guild versus Guild because it's not an option. Now, I am going to campaign my butt off to try to get NO to bring GvG to mobile. They've already said they're not going to, but I'm going to push it. The second reason is that it is quite complicated, and a lot of guilds just don't get involved because it is really complicated. The learning curve is really steep, and until you get a feel for what it is, it's really hard to get into. So, just a quick background as to why I'm making this video, and there's really two main reasons why. First of all, the instructions that NO gives for this are not very good, and they make it pretty much impossible to learn how to do GvG without somebody just coming along and helping you. That's where I step in. And then the second part is that I see that a lot of people have never even heard of GvG. And I think that there is a huge audience out there who have computers, but they only play on the app. And if they knew that they could jump on their browser and open up a whole world of excitement and fun, they would participate. So here I am enlightening you. And I am hopeful that this will spark a GvG revolution and that more players will at least get involved or dip their toe into the deep end of the fun part, the most fun part of Forge of Empires. So as you can see here, basically what's happening is there's a lot of players who have this attitude that Guild Battlegrounds has killed GvG and that GvG is no longer relevant. And I really argue against that for a couple of main reasons. First of all, typically the players and guilds that are saying that are the ones that are getting their asses kicked in GvG, so they have an incentive to downplay GvG. I'm not even going to go there past what I just said on it. The other aspect is that guild rankings is still determined entirely by GvG. At this point, any guild worth its weight in salt is already going to be in the Diamond League for the most part, or they're going to be at 1000 MMR. They're all getting the same guild power. And the things that differentiate guild ranking from, guild 1, player or rank 1 all the way to 20 or even 30 or higher is all going to be what you do in GvG. So I've hyped it up a little bit. Let's get into it. To access GvG on the browser, you can either click on the icon down here in the bottom left-hand corner, or you can press V as the hotkey. And the first thing you're taking to is this gigantic guild continent map. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And here you can see we have provinces starting in Iron Age and going all the way around to Future. And then you also have the All Ages map. Now, as you would expect, in each of the different ages, you must use units from that age. So if you're fighting in Modern, you better be using Modern Age units. If you're fighting in Future, you better be using Future Age units, etc. With the exception of All Ages. Now, all ages, you're allowed to use units of any age except Bronze Age because apparently spear fighters are overpowered. Aside from that, you can use whatever you want, and that's why I use spear fighters. And in fact, many of you have asked, I don't use spear fighters anymore, I wish I could. That's why I use archers. Many of you have asked, Pat, why do you have 20 archer barracks in your city? I'll get to that, but the bottom line is it's for AA, it's for GvG. And the reason why we have other barracks like the stealth tanks and the contemporary tanks and all the various age units is all for GvG. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to jump over to a different world just for a second to talk about the mechanics of GvG, and then I'm going to do a quick show of what Recalc looks like. And so you can kind of see the excitement of it, because just one person fighting is really boring, and that doesn't really give you a good taste for what GvG is about. Okay, so actually I'm going to do two things. First of all, we're going to jump to Tomorrow Era, because I know there's nothing going on there. So, all right, so here in Tomorrow Era, you will see a few things. First of all, you will see, I'm going to go back one more. All right, overview map. You can see you have red sectors, green sectors, and white sectors. Red sectors belong to a guild that's not yours. The green sectors belong to your guild. The white sectors are NPCs. They belong to no guild. Now, when you have no land, you can attack any landing zone that you like. And here you can see there's these arrows all around the edge of the map, and those are what you would call landing zones. And you'll notice that they're defined by their beachy appearance. These sectors with grass, those are not landing zones. You can't attack them. Now, one thing that a lot of players don't realize about landing zones, and when you are not landed, when you don't own any territory, is you can actually set sieges all over the place. So here you can see I've already set a siege over here, and a siege over here, and a siege over here. And sieges are how you acquire land. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back to contemporary to demonstrate. So here you can see I have two sectors, and I say I want to attack this sector. I would like to acquire this land. I click on the sector that I would like to take. I click view sector, and here you can see that there is one defensive army. Now, a sector can have more defensive armies than that. Here in my sector, I can have up to 8 defensive armies. The first defensive army is the army that you use for sieging. The second one is free. Each additional defensive army that you would like to add, you must unlock the sector by playing goods of that age. Also note that when you place a defensive army, you lose those units. They are gone forever. And that is relevant from the standpoint of sustainability, meaning that if you are doing a lot of filling of defensive armies or doing a lot of sieging, which I'll demonstrate in a minute, you can burn up units really fast. So there's a lot of benefit to having a lot of units. Okay, so those are your defensive armies. Now, to conquer a sector, you must defeat each defensive army 10 times. So right now, if somebody were to try to attack my sector, they must win 30 battles in order to take that sector. Now, as far as the siege goes, here I'll say view sector, and then I will put my siege army together. All right, and now I see they have their one defensive army. I'm going to go here, and I'll say, here you can see the cost to siege. Now, the cost to siege continues to go up as you gain more sectors. And in most ages, it starts to become impractical to have more than 20 and definitely 30 sectors. Holding more than 30 sectors in most ages is extremely impractical. All ages is the exception because all ages only uses metals. So you can hold 60 or 70 sectors and it's still sustainable. Okay, so there I said, yes, I would like to place this siege. Here I click the orange arrow, and then I can decide whether I want to siege or not, and it shows me the cost and how much my guild treasury has and whatnot. So I'm going to say go ahead and place, and now that siege army is gone. Boom, 8 more units gone. You guys just saw me burn 16 units, and I'm not even fighting. I haven't done a single fight yet. So sounds crappy, I know, but it's actually awesome. So here now I have the option to attack their sector. You'll notice that this auto battle and the attack come up. So I hit auto battle, and there you can see the result of the fight. Now here, if I try to attack, notice that I cannot fight on this sector because this sector is not under siege. It must be sieged. See, it says sector is not under siege. Over here, I can attack this sector because it's under siege. And notice that when I finish the battle, a shield goes up. So just as a basic quick rundown, you'll have the swords over the sector that's under siege. If the swords are green, that means that you are sieging the sector. If the swords are red, that means that a sector that you own is under siege. And if the sector or the swords are gray, that means that the sector belongs to someone other than you. All right. So rather than boring you to death trying to explain this and do the fights and all that, especially against 8 tanks, because this is just god-awful fighting, I'm going to do a quick replay of a recalc from my server a while ago that I recorded, just to kind of show you what it looks like. So I'm just going to kind of run through and point a few things out. Here you see a couple sieges are popping up. Like these are gray sieges on NPCs. That means that other guilds have siege that, and we broke those sieges, and here you see the green shields. That means that we are attacking that. The gray swords here and here, that means that guilds other than us are attacking a sector that we don't own. Here you see we have the green swords up, green shields are going. That means that we are attacking the sector, we're taking the sector. Once it's taken, there you can see it's gone. Now, also notice there's things going on over here on this side too. Like, so we lost a sector there, I think. And then here's a battle that's worth looking at, or at least maybe, I don't know. Here you can see that we've been sieged over here. So it gets very chaotic during Recalc because you can have things going on in all kinds of different places. Here you can see that one is being broken. Now here we're under attack. We've got a couple of hits there. And I don't remember if this was a night that was particularly good or bad. Here you can see the red swords over top of our sector, and you see the green swords. That means that we're breaking the siege. And you can see the red shields. That means that they're attacking and damaging the sector. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that there's a lot of strategy involved as far as getting protected sectors, using NPCs to block and whatnot. And look, see, we're even getting attacked over here on the other side of the map. So it's a lot more exciting when you're not just fighting on one sector, you're doing just one thing. It requires so much teamwork. It requires lots of communication of knowing where to go and what to do and how to do it. And I'm telling you, this is so much more dynamic and fun and interesting than Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds, you know what you're fighting, you know the army that you're fighting, and half the time you're attacking a sector that your enemy can't even do anything about it. Like, they literally have no way of stopping you from attacking the sector. In Guild versus Guild, you can always break the siege. You can always add defensive armies to protect your sector and to keep the enemy from taking it. So it makes it so that you have a much more head-to-head competition with the guilds that you're fighting. Whereas in Battlegrounds, you are, like I said, a lot of times you're getting attacked from a protected sector. You literally can't even stop them from attacking. It's kind of bogus. Now, anyhow, as you can see, lots of fights happen in a really short period of time. There's a lot of dynamic nature and planning that happens as far as wars go. So the only other thing that I haven't really mentioned that I probably ought to is that when you're attacking the sector, you don't know which army you're going to hit. So here you see I have these 3 different defensive armies that are in my sector. If somebody is attacking it, they will hit one of those 3 armies. And that actually adds a lot of variety into the game as well, because in Battlegrounds and GE, you already know what you're going to be fighting. But when you're doing Guild versus Guild, you don't know what you're going to hit. Are you going to hit a bunch of artillery? Are you going to hit a bunch of ranged units? Or how do you know which unit to use to attack? And that also puts a lot of strategy in. How do you fill your sectors with defensive armies? And how do you make it harder for your enemy to steal your sector or to capture your sector? So anywho, obviously there's a lot of strategy, a lot of teamwork involved in this. And I'm telling you, if you get involved with an active GvG guild, you will find it to be the most fun, addictive part of Forge of Empires. And it's the main reason why I still play the game. And it's the main reason why a lot of players still play the game, is because it's so much more fun. All right, guys. Well, hopefully this gave you enough of a taste of what GvG is to at least see what's going on, why I have a zillion different barracks in my city, and hopefully it gives you an itch to log in on your PC and to check it out. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I look forward to hearing your feedback on GvG.